Alright, gang, so this message is it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't really like come with it together. But it's basically having to do with like you giving away. It's like so you know how we know that people okay, there we go. People don't stay, right? And situations come arise, but okay, there's two messages here. The first one is you don't have to say yes to everything. And the same thing goes with no. You don't have to say no to everything. And like I've been granted opportunity at this moment to not only continue moving forward, but I've been granted opportunity to live, and I've been granted opportunity to care for my well-being, myself, the way that I am, how I grow, and how I just be with myself, to just fully be, and not in like contrast to anything, not in contrast to something that happened before or something that's gonna happen in the future, but just in, oh my gosh, crazy here. Anyways, but like in the sense that I am just me. And so at this moment in time, pinpointing any reason to make me believe that because I had to go through it, I'm here, like, no, that's not the fact. And so if you're here for a reason, okay? And if this resonates for you, I'm happy because I can understand what you're feeling, and you know, on some kind of traction, on some kind of railway, you can understand what I'm feeling too. So that being said, so the first message is every opportunity that comes for you does not need to be taken, okay? Like, if you feel slightly in your heart that something is not for you, that being a job, a person, an entire community, honestly, that just like either rubs you off the wrong way, it might feel right in the moment, but once you take a grasp and you step into it, you're gonna feel a little bit of a sting. And because that sting might be like almost like scary or anything, like not really scary, but it's just like something that you're not gonna want to do, and that's what makes it like frightening, because you don't want to do it, you know. But at the same time, you move with discernment. You know the things that you want to do, and then through the things that you're gonna do, you know that there's work that needs to be done, and that work, you can be beautiful in work. Like, work can be beautiful. Like, you don't need to be excruciating and compromising your mental health, your body, your heart, and your soul just for a job. Okay? It's just a job. And so let me tell you an example in my life, just so you could take a grasp, okay? So I worked in a kitchen, right? It was a big kitchen and a bank, and this is kind of personal, I'm not gonna lie. But it needs to come out, because it's for somebody. And in the kitchen, I was a chef, I was a cook. And, you know, I would make big tons, like huge, the screen doesn't even, like big tons of food. And I would cook, and, you know, it was hard, excruciating work. You know, I had to be there for like more than 10 hours every single day. It would take away all my free time. At the end of the week, I'd be so dead. I just sleep through the weekend, and again Monday would come, and then I just have to go to work. And I knew I was getting my bills paid, I knew I was getting this done, and I knew that I didn't have to worry about money. But the thing with that, I gave up so much time, and I relinquish so much of my time just so I could have this job. And you know what I didn't realize was, maybe this is just another side thought, but maybe this is a wrong thought or wrong way to think. But I'm thinking like, maybe if I had that job for just a couple of months, got like just saved all the money, and then eventually like just get out of that job and find a job that I like, or like while I'm working that job, I'm looking for jobs that I like. But the thing is, because that job was full time, like that's why I decided to stay. And I stayed there for a year and a half. Okay, so basically, yeah, basically I'm just gonna tell you, okay? In that job, I had to do so much work. I had to bend, I had to lift like 50 pounds of big fruit and vegetables, cut, peel, squash, all this big machinery. Like, you can imagine a big ass kitchen with those big like cooking things, those big ovens, humongous ovens. And I was working my ass off, okay? And I had no plan, I had no direction. All I knew was I had to work and I had to get money and supplement somehow, and that's how I was doing it, right? But after some time, and maybe I'll go deeper into this in my other videos, but after some time I got set in just one station, and I was working with this very delightful woman. She was what I could call a mother figure to me. And because I was very young, you know, everybody there would kind of look at me like I'm the youngest one, like I'm the youngest one, like I was like being cared for in other ways that other people weren't, right? And so, being that there was a lack of, you know, the management there was terrible, okay? The chefs there were terrible, like absolutely out of my world. But I gave so much of myself into that job that because I was in that station, I eventually, like the lady that was with me, she got moved to a different station, and this other lady came with me. And during that time, it was like the last couple months. And please like walk with me, okay? Holding my hand, because this is a little bit difficult, okay? I remember like for some time, like I needed a break, and here and there I would get one, but I just knew eventually that the job wasn't for me. You know, I started to move in the direction that the job was pushing me, and not the direction that I was pushing myself, in the direction that I wanted to go. So eventually I started looking into maybe getting a transfer somewhere else or anything like that, but still sticking with the job. And I didn't realize other things that I could do, you know? You really don't realize. You get blinded, and that's okay. Like, I learned, right? But with that being said, I got so fed up. I was with this lady and she was working with me, and I'm not one to talk bad about people, but it didn't work out. I'm not a person to be talking and talking. Like, I need to get my work done, and I'm gonna get it done and get it like on point. And so while I was training her, she wasn't really cooperating, okay? And then that ended for me to not cooperate with her. So it's like, you know, there's a lack of balance. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. You can imagine how bad the job is when you can't take it anymore. And I hadn't realized then that that's not what I wanted. And so, like, I saw myself, seeing myself, I would sit in the back, like, praying to God. Like, I would sit in the back by myself every single time in lunch, and everybody would ask me, why you sit there by yourself? Because I don't want to be with people, right? I didn't want to be in that job, and I didn't realize it. I just knew that it was giving me something, right? But it wasn't replenishing me in the ways that I wished it would have, right? Anyways, I got so fed up, and this woman, basically she made me snap, okay? And, you know, to each their own, but honestly, that was the most horrendous experience that I've had in my entire life. Because prior to when that whole situation happened, which I'm about to tell you, I was getting belittled by the manager, by like the other people there, and the chef. And I was feeling like so out of like league, out of context for everything, because my mind obviously was not there and I wasn't there. And at the same time, I was going through my own personal battles with my love life, you know, with other things that, again, I will talk to you guys about in other videos in the future. But in this case, you know, like I saw myself just, I just saw myself with my head down so many times, and then eventually, like, because the situation happened with the coworker that I was working with, like, I just snapped. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then after that, I continued to go to the job, and maybe I should have realized that's when I should have quit. But basically, I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't let it out, you know. I had like just lost, I was like separating from a relationship, and so I was so alone, right? And so because all of that was held in, and it was a lot, I could talk about this like for hours, but it was too much, and I literally exploded like a volcano. I didn't scream at her, I didn't scream at anybody. All I did, I bursted into tears. I wept, I cried, and I couldn't contain myself. Like, I was just shaking. And you know, prior to that, I was still crying some days here and there. I've had my tough battles at work. Like, I used to work at this diner with this freaking lady that would treat me and my other coworkers so bad. Like, she would make us cry. Like, she was so rude and disrespectful, you know. And anyways, at this kitchen job, I remember talking to the chef one last time, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And you know, like, they don't really seem to care. Maybe they did or maybe they didn't, but they didn't seem to care. I tried to talk to somebody, but they didn't seem to care. I tried to get some help, but they didn't seem to care. And I was searching for anybody or anything to help me, just, you know. And eventually I walked out. I just walked out. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I didn't even, all I know was the chef knew that I was leaving. I took my shit and I just walked out in tears. I was so baffled. And I remember as soon as I walked out of those glass doors for the last time, the wave of fresh air that I had not felt for that 1.5 years had finally hit me. And not only did, like, I let myself fall to the ground, but I picked myself right up, not knowing that I needed a moment to sit on the ground, just sit on my knees and sit with God, you know. But that's not the point. As far as you're hearing me, you're learning from me as well how meticulous I take things in, and how self-sabotage can happen in many ways, you know, saying, oh, maybe I could have done this better, or maybe this. But it also helps me because it puts it into perspective for me, you know. But anyways, that's basically what happened. I erupted. I blew up, and I was so contained that everything that had happened in that 1 year basically disappeared like that. And so after that, long story short, it was 2 entire weeks. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't answer a single call. I didn't take a shower. I couldn't eat. I wasn't drinking any water. I wasn't brushing my teeth. I completely surrendered myself to the bed that I had there at the house, my apartment that I was living in back then. And I wouldn't get up. I wouldn't get up to do anything. I would get up to use the bathroom, and that was it. And back then, there's only one person that I was like talking to here and then that kind of knew what was happening, but it was only that one person. And so it had to do with suicide. Like, it had to do with that. And so for almost 3 straight weeks, but 2 whole weeks, everybody was calling me, everybody was trying to seek for me, and I had no attachment to that. That job fucked me up mentally so bad that like I couldn't even answer the phone to my mom. So this is a little bit intimate and a little bit raw still, but eventually the cops came to my house. They were knocking, banging, and I wouldn't get up. Eventually my mom came knocking and banging, and she tried to break open the window, and it wouldn't get up. And eventually she came back again, and she was screaming out for me, and I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I literally crawled out of bed on the floor. I crawled out of the house, and like, open your eyes for the first time again outside in daylight. I was so starstruck because I couldn't believe that I had gone through something like that, to that extent, to that degree, that I had put myself through so much pressure that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to let it out, and I didn't know how to cry about it. I didn't know who to talk to. And I know, one thing I knew was God was with me. That's what the reason why I kept going. But like physically, like, I tried so many times, like going to therapy, talking to people, and it never worked out for me. And people are still going to tell me to this day, all you have to do is continue trying, continue going to the therapy. But no, it literally, everybody's different. Everybody in this world is different. Everybody takes things differently, you know? And so after that, like, eventually when I did start to talk again, you know, like, I had completely shut down. Like, that moment in time, I couldn't pay rent. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had bills piled up. I had all these things piled up. I had no idea. And even now, like, it's the same thing, but I'm looking back to that, like, seismatically, or like similar seismatically is coming in. And I treated it like, fuck, ow, sorry. I treated it like it was nothing. And I looked past so many versions of myself that had gone through these things, that eventually, like, I was just numbed out. I was just numb to everything. I was numb to everything that anybody was telling me. And so eventually when I got out of that, it was like I was reborn again. And, you know, getting into a job again was so difficult for me, and nobody understood. Nobody can tell me anything, because either way, maybe, like, at the same time that I didn't want anybody to tell me anything, I've been through it so long by myself for so long, and I've been through it for so long by myself for so long. So I was like, what's it to anybody? Okay? But I'm understanding now that the power that I hold is not only to ostracize that. These words are coming in like I know what they mean. Chill. Anyways. And so just depleting energies, you know, hurting energies and pain, growing pains just depleted me from my imagination, from my creativity. And even now, like, I can look back and even take away from the art that I've done now just because of what I've been through, but that's not the way I'd like it to be, or I would like it to go. So again, if you're here for a reason, okay? And so yeah, and then the next message comes in with love. This is it's a big thought, like it's far, it's stretched, but basically, like, people have treated you and wronged you and depleted you from your future, but I would just like for you to sit with the thought that there are people out there who love you, flaws and sins and all. Flaws and Sins by Juice WRLD. You should listen to that song. There are people out there who will love you through thick and thin, through your flaws and all. And, you know, carrying the weight of many is not what you've been placed in this world to do. You've been placed to carry the weight of yourself, so that when you are being gifted these new gifts, these miracles, giving out to people is going to be just a natural habit for you. It's a natural habit either way, but like more so in the fact that because you continue to give to yourself, continue to give to yourself, like nobody can take what is yours away. And yeah, I just like to you and me to sit with the fact that there are people out there who love us, who are going to love us, whether that comes in a friend or a love relationship, a community, a job that loves you. That's real. These things are real. Anything is possible, honestly. But yeah, just sit with that there are people out there that are going to love you unconditionally through thick and thin, not pushing, but letting go and putting apart what you've been through and what people have treated you through. Because yeah, there is attachment that we go through. We get attached to people because of the things that we went through together, but that does not define who we are at the end of the day. So with that being said, follow your heart, okay? Like I've said in my other video, and there are people out there who are a part of your soul tribe family that are waiting for you. They're waiting for you, and this is gonna make me cry, but they're waiting for you, and all you have to do is keep going so you can arrive in the right places, in the right jobs, to meet the right people, to then get shown the whole new world with like literally any opportunity that is being presented to you as of now, moving forward. It's a chance for you to dance with it and pick at your leisure. Because if it doesn't feel right with you and it doesn't feel right, there was this exercise that I was hearing. It's like you're in the right now, in the present, okay? You can imagine one direction with a certain job or with a certain person, and then you imagine yourself walking in it and see how you feel. And then you have another path here. Maybe it's just you by yourself, how you'd like to do your work by yourself. Maybe a different job like at home, and you walk through it, make sure how you feel. And then over here, like, it's another path that you can take. Like imagine 3 different paths and set a tone where you like to be. Sometimes that helps me because I'm very indecisive and not knowing. So like imagining these 3 paths, however you'd like, and just imagine yourself walking in it. Okay, walking in this path, and see which one you like the best, which one you feel the most loved, because if we're all here we're all looking for pleasure, I'm sure you want the best pleasure that there is, right? So that being said, I know that a lot of us here have artistic minds. We motivate not only with ourselves, but through ourselves we can motivate so many. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I think that's the perfect end, because I am being called to end it here. I hope you have a beautiful night and a beautiful day. Continue striving and moving forward. Because yeah, I'm a strong motherfucking woman, and I've been through a lot of shit, and I'm still here. So I'm a walking, talking human form of an example, and God has made me an example, and for that I will always be grateful. Peace and love.